By now, the whole of Côte d'Ivoire is buzzing, and yet the silence in certain corridors of power is deafening. On August 9, 2025, the streets of Abidjan erupted, not with joy, but with anger. Yopougon, the political heartbeat of the country, saw thousands march shoulder to shoulder, chanting, waving placards, and demanding a simple but dangerous thing: fairness. Their fury was not abstract, it was personal, it was urgent, and it was tied to a single explosive decision: the barring of two of the nation's most influential political figures, former President Laurent Gbagbo and ex-international banker Tidjane Thiam, from the upcoming October presidential race. Before we go deeper, if you want to keep getting stories that cut through the noise and unpack the power play shaping Africa's future, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel right now, because what's happening here is bigger than just Côte d'Ivoire. The official line from the Constitutional Council was technical, citing past convictions and alleged administrative irregularities. But on the ground, no one was fooled. For many Ivorians, this wasn't about paperwork, it was about power. Gbagbo, despite being ousted in 2011 and facing years of legal battles, remains a political titan with deep grassroots support. Tidjane Thiam, the former Credit Suisse CEO with global credibility, represents a different kind of threat, a polished, reformist figure capable of bridging elite and popular backing, blocking both men in one swoop. To the protesters, it was less an accident and more a calculated move to clear the electoral path for the ruling establishment. The protests were not small symbolic gestures, they were an eruption of pent-up resentment. Entire neighborhoods poured into the streets. Enough is enough wasn't just a slogan, it was a verdict from the people against a system they see as rigged. Mothers carried children on their backs as they marched. Young men banged on metal sheets, turning the air into a percussive wall of defiance. The police presence was heavy but restrained compared to the darker memories Ivorians carry from past election seasons when demonstrations often ended in blood. Still, the tension was palpable, with every chant daring the state to respond. What makes this moment more combustible is the shadow of Côte d'Ivoire's violent political history. The 2010-2011 post-election crisis, triggered by Gbagbo's refusal to concede to current President Alassane Ouattara, left more than 3,000 dead and tens of thousands displaced. Many of the young people marching now were children during that chaos, watching neighborhoods turn into battlefields. They've grown up in the shadow of that trauma, but instead of retreating into fear, they're stepping into the streets, determined to force a different outcome. Their message is not just to the government, but to the entire political class. If you want peace, stop playing with democracy. International observers are watching closely, though their words are as cautious as ever. The African Union has called for calm and inclusive political dialogue. The UN has urged all sides to respect the rule of law, and Western embassies have issued the standard warnings to their citizens about avoiding protest zones. But behind the diplomatic language lies a simple truth. What happens in Côte d'Ivoire in the next few weeks could set the tone for the entire West African political climate, already volatile with recent coups in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. If one of the region's economic powerhouses slides into instability, the ripple effects could be enormous. For President Ouattara's government, the gamble is clear. By keeping Gbagbo and Thiam out, they reduce the immediate threat of losing power. But they also risk something more dangerous: losing legitimacy in the eyes of millions. Democracy, after all, isn't just about holding elections, it's about giving people real choices. If those choices are engineered away, elections become nothing more than expensive theater. And Ivorians, judging by the scale of these protests, are not interested in buying tickets to a show they know is fake. Some argue that barring leaders with controversial histories or legal baggage is necessary to protect the nation's stability. But this argument is slippery. If the standard becomes political convenience rather than consistent application of the law, then no opposition leader is ever truly safe from disqualification. Today it's Gbagbo and Thiam. Tomorrow it could be someone else. In that kind of system, power doesn't change hands through ballots. It changes hands through the back rooms. In conversations with protesters, one theme kept resurfacing: trust, or rather, the complete absence of it. We don't trust the council, we don't trust the process, a young woman named Awa told reporters, holding a cardboard sign that read, "Justice or chaos." She was not calling for Gbagbo to be handed the presidency, nor was she proclaiming Thiam the savior. Her point was simpler: let the people decide. The streets of Abidjan are filled with such voices, some deeply loyal to one camp, others simply tired of being political pawns. The protests have not yet morphed into full-scale unrest, but the potential is there. All it would take is one clash gone wrong, one overzealous officer, one spark, and Côte d'Ivoire could find itself on the edge again. That's the danger when public frustration is left to boil without meaningful response. Each day the government holds its line without dialogue. It raises the stakes for the next confrontation. The ruling party still has time to recalibrate. Reinstating Gbagbo and Thiam would be politically costly, but it might also be the pressure valve that prevents an explosion. Even a credible compromise, like an independent review of the disqualifications, could cool the streets. But the window is closing fast. Every march, every chant, every rally builds a momentum that's harder to stop than to start. Côte d'Ivoire's economy, one of the fastest growing in Africa, thrives on stability. Its cocoa exports feed the global chocolate industry, its ports serve as vital trade hubs for landlocked neighbors, and its infrastructure boom has been the envy of the region. But political legitimacy is the bedrock beneath all that growth. Without it, investors retreat, businesses freeze hiring, and ordinary Ivorians bear the cost. This is not just a fight for names on a ballot, it's a fight for the foundation of the nation's future. The choice facing Côte d'Ivoire is as stark as it is familiar. Open the political space and risk losing control, or close it and risk losing the country. History, both in Abidjan and across the continent, suggests that trying to strangle democracy rarely ends well for anyone, especially not those in power. The protests in Yopougon are more than a political dispute. They are a warning flare. Ignore them, and the next time Ivorians fill the streets, it might not be to demand ballots. It might be to demand something far more costly. If you were in Abidjan right now, would you be in the crowd or watching from the sidelines? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because the debate over who gets to run for president isn't just Côte d'Ivoire's problem anymore. It's a question for every democracy under strain.